I'm Justin Simien, writer-director of Dear White People.
Dear White People, it's a satire about being a black face in a white place. And it follows these 4 black kids at a mostly white Ivy League college as they sort of navigate, what it feels like to sort of be yourself when your identity is kind of decided for you. I knew I wanted to be a filmmaker since I was a kid. I was always trying to draw something, and looking back on it, I think, I was always trying to tell a story visually. And there was this moment when I was watching TV, it was probably cartoons, and I realized it was somebody's job. It must have been somebody's job to put this stuff on the television screen and to put this stuff in the movie theaters. And the minute it dawned on me that that might be a person's job, I knew that that was a job that I wanted to have. I went to a performing arts high school as a theater major. Was in plays and wrote plays and directed plays and all that kind of thing, because that was the closest thing to film, that I could think of that I could do with my time. From there, I started making little short films. I basically would just craft my own narratives and just kind of practice is what I thought of it as. But one of them won me an award. It won me the National Gold Medal in something called AXO, which is the NAACP nationwide competition for students. I made a senior thesis film, called Rings, and in my head that was gonna, skyrocket me to fame and success. Of course, it was 8 years working in publicity until I actually got to make my first film. And I worked at Focus, Paramount, Sony, and eventually started working at Participant. And on the side, while all of that was happening, I had a web series called Instant Messages, and I was always writing something. And it just so happened that Dear White People was the thing I had to finish, and I had to make my first film. I just took my tax return that year and said, I gotta take another step to get this project made, and I made a concept trailer, like a what if this were a real film trailer. And because of my publicity background, I knew that if people liked it, I should give them something to do. And that's when the idea of having an Indiegogo campaign came about. And in 3 days, we had raised $25,000 and had several 100,000 views, which was completely beyond what I thought would happen. And eventually, the fan base that we generated off of that campaign is what attracted our eventual financier to come on board and say, hey, these kids have 25,000 fans. They've raised $50,000. Maybe we should make the movie and see how much more we can make. I feel like I have this relationship with Indiegogo now, and it's been incredibly supportive, and it makes me want to go back and figure out what else I can do to crowdfund with them again.